win spot. He did pick up the win. Alright.
Last game, huh?
Yep. Welcome everyone to game number 5 of our third casuals tourney. This is for all the marbles. I am here with PB Head.
Greetings.
Right, so we have a chemical colony with double price chemicals and kind of weak carbon with nukes.
I'm really liking that science spot. It's near the carbon.
Yep. That will be excellent.
It's not too far away. It was expensive though.
There aren't enough highs, I
It's
think.
for a robot smashing the aluminum, getting the instant upgrade, and shipping in iron.
You'd be shipping in iron from quite a ways away.
There's a robot spot in the middle of a water patch. Okay.
I guess that works.
Peasant going for the level 1 chemical refineries.
Bob Rooney going for the really aggressive, found near all the carbon. Well, all the decent carbon.
What is insane? What?
But why would you go for two farms and one chem? Okay, now I canceled the farm. It's going for 111.
The only found that makes any sense to me here is the science spot. Everything else is just what?
I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to see Peasant do something like level 1 reactors into level 2 chems if there was enough steel production going to allow that. But this is just a little disjointed.
A scientific HQ has been upgraded.
I mean, fair, his buildings are making good money.
They just should be making more money.
Suppose. Everyone else has steel, so. Peasant is going with the Adderfield strategy of last round of no steel, because who cares, I guess.
An expansive HQ has been
It's a strategy that works pretty well sometimes.
A scientific HQ has been upgraded.
Peasant is the last upgrade, but that's not surprising here. Let's see what he does with his claims.
Please
Problem
go
is now he's basically halved his food income, right?
Right. That and, well, putting down buildings is still really expensive. Probably needed to wait longer to upgrade, so you could just put down buildings right away.
3 claims and doing nothing with them.
Yeah, you could just sell out of all this aluminum and start getting stuff down.
There's another chemical refinery. Yeah, all his upgraded was cost him more money. Wind turbine, loan out of Bob here. This will be our first power production building.
I am sad that Von Eagle is auto-selling fuel with all these, with the chem production. Definitely some lost profit there.
He's the only one of those reactors, and
the black market is open for business.
Okay, well, Bob's getting into some very nice power here. Now, the problem is that you can't really goon this effectively because
robotics HQ has been upgraded.
A new claim is available for
EMPs.
Oh, wow, he actually did manage to cut it off. That's okay. Never mind. He has 2 goons. His power is gooned. I'm impressed.
I still wonder if maybe this is a bit early on the power, going 3 wind with power only at low hundreds, but should be okay. No one else is making any move into power.
Okay, well, Peasant cut off his fuel production for his
sold.
So
yeah,
good on you there.
Von Eagle was doing him a favor, and Peasant decided he didn't need the help.
And those buildings were making good money, but those chemical refiners are doing pretty good jobs too, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, and they're definitely going to sustain themselves for a while with all these laboratories down, but the player could have just
And they are
worked.
the best tiles on the map.
Hmm. I just wish these farms were reactors, because they would work together so much better. But that's okay.
I'll get them down slightly later. Problem is reactors.
They cost a lot of that steel, it would have slowed them down more.
HQ has been upgraded.
It's
Yeah,
understandable.
he's definitely buying it up, right?
The black market is open for business.
Definitely, I
Yeah,
can.
it does feel that Bob was a little early into the power. He has paid off his debt, so that's great.
HQ has been upgraded.
And there's still very little competition in power, so it might still work out for him.
Let's see. Solar panels are cheap, but it's nighttime.
Right. One thing I will.
Second wind turbine finally going down for Von Eagle here.
Definitely a consistent issue with Peasant is that he's pretty slow on getting his claims to work after he upgrades. Probably
Well, there's
need.
some reactors and some solar panels for.
Right.
It's
Upgrade.
good territory. I mean, I'm not complaining about, every single one of his things is like $100.
Yeah, he's definitely made good decisions. It's just. We saw this with HQ2 as well, just upgrading a bit sooner than he really needed to, before he could really take advantage of it. Costing him a little bit. It's not a huge deal, but it's.
Poor Von Eagle has, he's behind, and he has very vulnerable tiles.
Yep.
Power surge on the solar panels. Oh no! I have all my other buildings making $100 each.
On the other hand, Peasant did spend a lot of money to get those solar panels down, and
New building is
between the
available for
dust storm and nighttime, those are just never going to do anything. Bit unfortunate, but I don't think Peasant cares all that much.
If they're not going to do anything, they might as well get power surged, right?
I mean, they would have done something, they didn't get power surged. And I'm definitely really concerned about Peasant taking on this 40k auction without having any access to power for a while.
I mean, but his fuel and his oxygen and his food and his water costs.
That
are
is
all
fair.
taken care of,
That is fair.
right? So, he's not gaining debt from anything except power.
And if anyone's positioned to take on
A robotics HQ has
a
been
patent lab,
upgraded.
it's him with the chem production already down. A superconductor is a really weird first pickup. And then energy vault.
is online.
Power's gonna be dead with this dust storm. There are all these wind turbines down. But that's okay. Peasant's still in a nice position. A poor sheep. Up to HQ4.
Gonna be this guy. Huh? Yeah, his power production was very good, and it was completely untouched. Making steel, making all that steel money off of Peasant, really, is what poor sheep was doing this whole time. Because, yeah, everyone else was on 2 steel mills, but he was on 3. Robert, are you trying to contest the patents a little bit here? Carbon
Peasant?
scrubbing?
Interesting transition from Peasant here, moving from food into steel. Does not have any iron to support that. Which is okay for now, but probably not for much
The black
longer.
market is open for business.
Do teleportation.
Yes, excellent.
That'll solve his iron problems. He can build a trio of steel mills across the map if he wanted to.
Right, and once that problem's solved, he doesn't really have any other problems.
That freeze does kind of suck, but it's very short because it was. Question is, has he queued up thinking machines? Yes, he has. Ah,
An expansive
gonna let that happen
HQ
again.
has been upgraded.
Bid now and you could win a core sample to discover new resources.
Power hasn't crashed nearly as much as I sort of expected it to.
Right, between that dust storm and everything else going on, I guess players have transitioned out of a bunch of the power. Kind of
So,
expecting that. So these solar panels with the superconductor end up actually doing okay.
So, Von Eagle, you want another steel mill? What do you gonna use that core sample for, huh?
the black market is online.
Maybe get some silicon? Could find a spot for it.
Could also potentially try to find some carbon.
Virtual reality coming down next. That'll be great. He can cycle his patent lab into into Pleasure Dome whenever he feels like. Yeah, more patents if you will.
I do wonder if maybe Peasant has been going for too many patents. Chems are very expensive, and he's still stuck on HQ3,
Upgraded.
so
I mean,
potentially means he gets
he also
ignored.
apparently paid down a lot of debt. What money went? Hey, well, you get financial instruments to end this off, but otherwise, I think you're basically done with patent bureau.
I think with Chems at $300, I just skip financial instruments this time. Go right for that profitable Pleasure Dome.
Patent lab for something, damn it! Scrap it. Peasant is in, sort of scary position because Poor Sheep does have a lot of money.
And already
And-
HQ5. Just hasn't gotten attacked a lot this whole game.
Did Poor Sheep have 2 patent offices there for a second?
Yes,
Was I just...
they were indeed both patent labs.
Why? All the good patents are gone. You're getting slant drilling? You're not gonna get it. Sorry.
Would have been nice. Gotten him a bit of extra carbon, protected him a bit from nukes, but too bad.
The black market is online.
Peasant! Do something!
Hard to come
What's
by
Bob-
land claim available
Bad
to
lab.
the highest bidder.
I'm not sure exactly what Bob Rooney gets out of slant drilling, besides nuke protection. 'Cause he already had plenty of water, he had plenty of, well, pretty much everything. Guess he can maybe access silicon through it, but I don't know where from. That he couldn't have gotten without slant. Weird, but I guess he denies people as well. 20 28k claim seems reasonable enough.
Congratulations.
He did use one of his core samples somewhere. I'm not quite sure where.
Yeah, I'm not
Probably
seeing
on
it either.
carbon for his chemical refineries.
Yes. Definitely that high didn't exist before. Though it is,
Okay.
it's very much a bold
Alright.
move to have those 3 chem labs out there. Can't pick up teleportation, there are pirates, so
Optimization center
Well, it's
is
paying
ready.
off for now.
Time
Mhm.
to start improving everything.
Poor Sheep going after Peasant. Peasant's set himself up to be really strong late, but might not get there.
Defend himself if he presses the button.
Yeah. Oh,
Pleasure Dome is completed.
a lot of the money's tied up in all these constructions. He still has the defense.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
HQ has been upgraded.
Woo! Yeah, that was really close there.
Yeah, really cutting it closer than it needed to be, but in the end it's fine. Still, Poor Sheep
The black
looks to be in a
market is
really
open for
strong
business.
position. No one is really threatening him at the moment. If he
Poor
pulls
Chief
this
is
file.
definitely, wanting to contest that late game with his
Triple optimization.
triple
Only 2 are being used though.
Let the pleasure
So, well, I mean, it wasn't being used anyway, but
Yeah, the freeze made sure it wasn't being used. I do like why Poor Sheep is
and these electronics factories are making negative money. Yay!
definitely not ideal. I do like what Poor Sheep has done though with these solar panels, boosting this water pump and this quarry. Helping make some weak carbon into some pretty decent carbon.
The engineers have advanced our production.
Upgrading. Okay, he's finally upgrading carbon and food. Upgrading chemicals, which are all
And
frozen.
cycling out of one of those electronics into a hacker array. Feels a bit weird to me,
Negative
but
glass kilns going down for
Methods
peasant.
continue to improve.
What is it with these peoples and buildings that don't make money? I mean, nothing. No secondary buildings make money right now.
right. It
Like,
is
steel makes $20.
Scientific HQ has been
right. It's very
Nothing
weird.
else, like everything else is like the raw resources have just gone so high.
Optimization routines success.
It's definitely really weird to me what Peasant decided to do with his HQ4 upgrade after picking up that teleportation.
How could one
He
refuse
just
such a wonderful
didn't
plot of
pick
land?
up iron or silicon. He just built a bunch of pleasure domes. Well, only one claim on the pleasure dome, and one on an optimization center.
HQ has been upgraded.
But he had the opportunity to pick up these resources. Instead, things are just difficult. Though this HQ5 upgrade should fix that. Even if it's probably coming too late.
Congratulations.
Oh, steel mills for peasant. 5 steel mills for peasant.
Bruni, being kind of bold here, picking up the second silicon tile off an auction. It is worth a lot of money, but that's also 6 silicon per second flying away all the way across the map.
That, you know, it's a little bit of fuel. Fuel is only, you know, going up right now. You know, like Von Eagle's, you know, very happy about that. Of course, he's shipping fuel to his chemical refineries. He was happy about this. There is not enough fuel production on the map right now.
Right, there are too many farms down that really don't need to be farms.
Peasant really need to.
Bob Bruni moving into electronics instead of reactors, which I guess that's
Don't want
something.
reactors. You don't want electronics. You don't want electronics. Stop electronics. Thank you. Build reactors.
On the
Okay.
and an off-world coming down.
Well, I mean, you know.
Oxygen launch is ridiculous.
Optimization
Fair
routines
enough.
successful.
Maybe it'll get some more people going to electrolysis reactors.
On the other hand, Bob Bruni indie debt, Goons 50k, Dynamite 6k. It's just not gonna get anything done. And Von Eagle's just gonna buy up Bob Bruni if he can. Might
Bob
be
with
difficult.
defense and has a lot of money to, you know, waste on whatever the snot he wants to. So.
I mean, most of that money is in the off-world, about 120k. Does definitely still have a solid lead on Von Eagle.
Off-world market is assembled. Our fortune awaits.
Meanwhile, this
Well,
whole
the off-road market is up, and it is
Poor Sheep,
not launching, and it is not defended.
Poor
It is not
Sheep,
launching and
even
not defended.
Poor
It is not
Sheep
launching.
has a dynamite bought up. He's just not using it. Why? Someone else bought a dynamite. It still hasn't gotten used. Von Eagle,
We're just
no one's blowing up this off-world.
Our center is ready. Time to start improving everything.
no, instead we're just going
On
to
a pleasure dome? I don't get it.
I mean, maybe
Optimization center is online.
not
Peasants.
looking like he's much of a threat. Maybe.
I mean, it's okay. There we go.
There we go. But I mean, let's be honest.
Optimization center
Bob
is
is
ready.
worried about.
Time to start improving everything.
Von
Peasant's
Eagle.
worried about Poor Sheep. Poor Sheep's worried about Peasant.
Right, but Von Eagle's the one that threw the dynamite at Peasant's Pleasure Dome, which just doesn't make sense.
Von Eagle should be worried about Bob, since he's trying to buy.
Yep.
I have no idea what's going to happen in this game right now.
Yeah, poor Sheep is kind of really just stalled out a bit. He had a lot of money, he was well on his way to buying Peasant, and then just hasn't managed to scrape together all that much. A lot of it is that he doesn't have access to silicon, his carbon is pretty weak, so maybe just not being able to get into the markets he needs to.
And he has been, sort of consistently frozen. He did also waste, the transition on the electronics that made no money.
Yeah.
The black market is open for business.
But this is definitely sort of a scary position for Peasant, no matter which way you look at it. And there goes another optimization. What the? Okay. Poor Sheep really does not like Peasant's optimization centers, for whatever reason.
I think that's probably just a mistake, straight up, at this point. It's close enough to the buy that just blowing it up just doesn't accomplish much. You probably want your opponent to be seeking resources into optimizations when they're so close to being dead.
Yeah, so you can use them yourself when they're yours.
Yep.
Another dynamite on another optimization center. Off-world happily ungoon launching away.
Not
He
even.
doesn't even have thinking machines.
Right.
Thinking machines.
Why did?
There's the water shortage from poor Sheep going through. Not
Meanwhile,
utilized effectively at all.
Bob Rooney has 2,000 water. What is this? Why did he claim that? Why did he claim that third water tile?
Look at this strategy.
I'm so confused.
That's the slant drilling definitely paying through for him.
I mean, I guess the upside is that even consuming 4.25 fuel a second, he hasn't skyrocketed fuel. He's still in a great position to buy out Von Eagle. Poor Sheep is slowly approaching Peasant. And then things should be pretty close.
If I was Peasant, I'd be really annoyed right now. Because you know you're dead. 8%.
Right, Peasant's kind of been in just that position of knowing he was dead for a long, long time now. It's just not a lot of fun to sit there.
Well, poor Sheep could buy Von Eagle of all people. And now he can buy Peasant. And there he goes.
Yep. What is this territory?
I it's just like there is nothing I can do despite the black market. Whatever.
Why is that a... Yeah, the power surge going down on the off-world instead of the dynamite? When dynamite
Von
is
Eagle is giving the
that...
game to Bob. So maybe.
Oh boy.
Poor Sheep selling out of his chemicals right before his shortage goes through.
Well, to be fair, other people are... Well, no, it's just Bob Rooney with barely any chemical production. Poor Sheep, you need to buy the stock. A little bit late there, but not the worst. It is really generous of Von Eagle to get this off-wall down right before dying.
What a payout.
That and
He
that.
just missed the rocket. The rocket goes up as the launch pad crumbles underneath it.
The black
Beautiful.
market is online.
And once again, it could be anyone's game. It's
Optimization routine successful.
2 off-worlds to 1.
Yeah,
Equal stocks.
Von Eagle's offworld is up while Peasants is not yet. And that is good, but Peasant is already making a lot more money. And Poor Sheep has the cash lead. Why are we nuking Silicon when it's under $10? Okay.
Because slant drilling, that's why.
Okay. He's auto-selling his Silicon that he's shipping in from so far.
The off-world market is finished and awaiting orders.
Oh. Poor Sheep should have this one. Von Eagle is building a second off-world, interestingly.
Like, I mean... Subsidiary right now? You know, like, some really good optimizations, right? Versus...
The black market is open for business.
Von Eagle has some decent optimizations, but... About equal, just different spreads.
Yeah, the 3 in fuel, 3 in power just doesn't do anything. 2 in silicon.
This is the launch and you're gonna upgrade fuel,
Make
okay.
room for the profits.
Well, Peasant's also going into a second off-world.
At this point, Von Eagle has overtaken Peasants in
Black
dividend
market is
income,
online.
though I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Subsidiaries are eating all of this steel.
Yeah, and Poor Sheep is in a lot more steel. Well, not a lot more, it's 3 to 2.
Off-world market is a
Peasant's sub never actually got into steel. So I guess steel is actually in Vibrani's favor. But... eh.
It's looking more and more like a sheep victory here.
Indeed.
Our methods continue to improve.
Steel shortage is strange.
The black
There's
market
gonna
is
be a
open for business.
fairly sizable debt tick for sheep here in a moment if he doesn't pay it off.
I think it's probably the wrong move to pay it off.
$27,000, and it's effectively that you have to pay, or $27,000 less that your opponent has to pay to buy you.
I mean, but when you're paying off debt, you also raise your base price, which raises their stock own modifier, which raises your buyout price of them, so... It ends up not equaling out, I think, when you're both in this 5-5 stock split.
Yeah, well, it wasn't.
We're getting a little deep into the weeds here.
Bob is not rebuilding his off-world market.
Probably the right idea. Not enough time for it to pay off.
Sheep just got a lot of money. He's about to get a lot more from his launch.
Yep. Should be wrapping up any moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good game to sheep. I mean, that was.
Yep. Managed to get
You know, if I was Peasant, I'd be annoyed right now. Because I just and there was nothing you could do about it. Despite, but go for the late game.
Yeah, I think Peasant did have a bunch of missteps early on that kind of slowed him down more than necessary. He didn't really need to be in that position to be so vulnerable to Sheep's early aggression, but it was an interesting, a different play out of Peasant that nearly panned out. We see a subsidiary.
Almost, it was really close. He almost held it off. I just, I feel like, the prices seem a little bit ridiculous right now.
Just a little.
Oxygen's at 351, Carbon's at 270. 9?
Which is kind of unforgivable when Bob Rooney has these 2 wind turbines with $1 power on top of carbon. Oh well.
Ah, he does. Yep. Okay.
Definitely an interesting
Good
game
game,
though.
buddy. Peasant's biggest moneymaker was glass of all things. Excuse me?
He's going. Did he go into that triple glass very late in the game? It was Glass Colony. I guess Silicon was out of control enough that no one ever moved into glass, even after it crashed. People were really caught up in producing food for some reason. Food was just kind of dead most of the game.
You got finished instruments wins games, am I right?